Jesus.
Recording in progress.
All right, so
do we do the chayams on Musar?
Why not?
All right, the chayim. I'll do it because I'm not driving.
Peretz, I was listening to a shir this morning from Yisrael Reisman. You got it. It was on when I heard this. I almost wanted to jump out of my skin because Mamash, what we were discussing yesterday's daf. He said he once went to Eretz Yisrael and he had to be Masada Kedushin. And Yerushalayim, he says the word Yerushalayim throughout Nach is spelled without a yud, yud reish, whatever. And the end of it is yud reish. Does it go? Lamed mem. There's no yud there. So he asked one Talmud Rabbi Yashiv, a top Talmud Rabbi Yashiv, how did Rabbi Yashiv spell Yerushalayim? He said Rabbi Yashiv spelled Yerushalayim with a yud, and anybody who says he spelled it without a yud is making a mistake, and it's a big mistake in Rabbi Yashiv. Fine. Then the top Talmud Rabbi Yashiv, actually he had called him back and said Rabbi Yashiv spelled it the opposite, without a yud, and anybody who tells you otherwise is totally mistaken. Right? These guys were the top two guys. I know them, but they're the top two guys. So then he says to him, now we have a problem. He says, I don't want to make trouble, but you got you two guys running around saying opposite things. So it came out, this was wild. It came out that Rabbi Yashiv held, it has to do with kesubas. Rabbi Yashiv held that a kesuba is just a financial document. So you could spell Yerushalayim with a yud because even though that's not the way it was spelled in Tanakh, but that's the way people spell it. So he felt it's a financial document, you can. But a get is a halachic document, and you have to spell Yerushalayim the way the Torah spells it, which is without the yud. So that's how he clarified it. Rabbi Yashiv always spelled it with a yud when he was Masada Gedushin, and without a yud when he did a get. How's that for?
But if he held that, but a get is more stringent, why did he didn't do a kesuba the same way? Why do you have to write it with the yud?
No, he didn't want people to be confused. Yerushalayim, most people spell Yerushalayim with the yud, so spell it with the yud for the kesuba. More people see kesubas than they do gittin.
Right.
I'm assuming I'm down and out again. Now I'm doing it. I'm saying that on my own. I have no idea if that's true.
This would have been a good question for him, not that.
Correct.
Can I ask what was on yesterday before you recorded and you said it's a chaval wasn't recorded? I was listening this morning.
Oh, what were we discussing?
Rami, you snooze, you lose, buddy.
That's right. What we were discussing about the high level of high standard of living that Klal Yisrael has.
If I could record it.
What?
Should have recorded it. It could have.
Yeah. Anyways.
We're talking about the magazines, the Yom Tov magazines.
That's right. Okay. Anyways, so Gufa, yeah, we continue with all these stories of collecting debts and collecting loans, the wife from the husband, etc., etc. So Gufa, as we know, is always a repeat. It's like open quotations of what was something before. Gufa, Amar Shmuel, Amaycha shtar chayav lechaver. So let's say I sell a shtar chayav to a guy sells a shtar chayav to his friend. The chazer machla, and then he's machal it, right? Machal, it's machal, but filu yarish machal. Even somebody who yarshin it could be machal. Again, we said this is like one of the greatest scams a guy can pull. He sells his debt to somebody, and then after the guy buys the debt, he's machal the loan. So he just totally pulls a scam on the guy. So not only could he do it, but his inheritors could also be machal. That's what Shmuel had said. But if the guy who bought the debt is a smart guy, he gives him a few dollars, right? He'll give the guy who borrowed the money a few dollars, because of shtar of Ishmei, and then he'll transfer the shtar to his name. Meaning, right now, let's go use Ruvain and Shimon. So Ruvain borrows money from me, right? So now I owe him money, and Reuven decides I'm not going to pay the money back, so he sells the debt to Shimon for pennies on the dollar. Now Reuven could, like we're saying, Reuven could go now be Michael the debt, and I'm left with nothing. I just paid for nothing, right? So what Rav Huna is saying, if I'm a smart guy, not me, I'm sorry. If Shimon is a smart guy, he comes to me and says, hey, transfer the debt, transfer the document to my name, to Shmuel's name, to Shimon's name, like this. Now it's a new debt. Now, even if Reuven is Michael the debt, he can say, who cares? It's a new document. It's in Shimon's name. It doesn't make a difference if you're Michael, right? That's what he would do. So basically he's saying, give him a few dollars, give the borrower a few dollars, convince him to make a new star in the guy who bought the debt's name, and then he can't get shafted by the lender. Fine. Man the don dina the garmi. So the garmi is basically a form of grama. Normally grama is potter, right? Grama is pshat, that if I go tell you to buy a stock, and I say it's gonna go up, trust me, and then it goes down. So I'm potter because it's a grama. I didn't make you do that. But there are poskim that say that garmi is yar chayav. So according to the opinions that say that somebody would be chayav for garmi, then in this case, the guy that bought the debt can go collect money from the guy that sold, from the lender who sold him the debt, right? Because he caused him a loss. And if you paskin that causing somebody a loss, you have to pay for, so then you have to. Interesting enough, the Mishnah Berurah in Hilchos Yom Kippur and Hilchos Tshuva says that let's say somebody sent somebody on an errand and that person died. So obviously you're not chayav. But the Mishnah Berurah brings, I forgot from who, I think it was Rishonim, that the tshuva should be done on something like that, because that person was the cause of somebody dying. Right? A little bit scary, but that's what the Mishnah Berurah brings in Hilchos Yom Kippur. Anyways, but if you go with if you go with the shittas that say that you're chayav on grama, so then here you'd be chayav too. And the one who doesn't paskin garmi, all the guy has is a piece of paper. Basically, he bought a piece of paper because the lender who sold him the debt was then Michael it. So essentially, he paid money for a piece of paper. Hava uvda, right? There was a story like this. For Kafir Rafram Ravashi, and Rafram forced Ravashi to pay it back. Vagvibe kikshura litzalmi. And he made it, he evaluated it. Agvibe means he evaluated kikshura litzalmi, that somebody was buying a beam in order to draw pictures on it. Which somebody who's buying a beam to put pictures on it is going to be is going to make sure, very careful that he'll be able to, the beam is perfect. So therefore, and so that's what he's going to make sure that everything's perfect. It's the same thing here. He made sure that he has to pay him back every last penny that he was supposed to get for the debt. Fine. So let's say you have a guy who has to pay his wife's kesuba, and he also owes money. And he has money and he has land. So now who gets what? Again, he owes money to his wife because he divorced her, and he owes money to another fellow because he owes him money. And he has land and he has money. So who gets what? So the one he owes money to, he has to pay back with money. And the woman gets land. Because each one is going with its din. Right? Because when a guy borrows money, or lends money, he expects to be paid back in money. Right? But a woman with a kesuba, she never gave him anything. I mean, she got married to him. So she's just going to get land. V'ilai, ika elachad arav. But if there isn't, all he has is land. And the land will only take care of the money he owes to his wife, or the money that he owes to the guy for his debt. So the Baal Chai, he gives it to the Baal Chai before he pays the wife. The Isha Lo Yavin, but he doesn't give it to the wife. My timer, Because a woman, more than a man wants to get married, a woman wants to get married. So since a woman wants to get married, so she would be willing to forego the kesuba to be married. Right? Meaning women, let's say the women know this din. By the way, if the husband only has enough money to go to you or to go to the Baal Chai, will you get married? So the woman will get married. But lenders might say, 1 second, if this guy's going to owe his wife money, I'm not lending him money. And then it's going to cause the economy to stop moving. Sort of the same way they did a pruzbul, right? They needed to make sure people would lend money because otherwise the economy goes kaput. So the same thing here. Now I don't understand because before we said, I mean, it's Taisus Kasha, but before we said that women are going to take a hard line with the kesuba, right? So here it seems like they're not going to take a hard line. Okay, I don't know exactly how to answer that. Okay, so Amalei Rav Papa Rav Chama. So Rav Papa said to Rav Chama, "Vaday dam risa mishmei de Rava." Is it for sure what you said in the name of Rava? That what Haiman damaski bezuzi, that if a person owes money, bislei ara, and he has land, and the guy who he owes the money to comes and asks for the land, and you're allowed to go say, take it from the land. And Amrina lay zil zavanat I see havle. Right? So meaning he says the guy who's owed the money asks him, okay, I want to take the money from your land. Right? Meaning sell your land. So we tell the lender, sell your land, and then give him the money. Right? So meaning his question was, do you really do that? Do you make the guy sell the land and then give the money? Or do you say, just give him the land? He said to him, Loy. He said, I never said that. It's also what we're discussing. Again, the same, right? He said, did you say this? He said, I never said it. So tell me how it went down. So he said, the guy who owed the money says, the cash that I have belongs to a guy, meaning I have debt. I have money in debt from the Yid. I'm in debt to the Yid. I'm also in debt to a guy. I cannot give you this money. Now, the assumption was that this guy's lying because most people that have money in their property and is really their money. So since they were chayshid that this guy was playing shenanigans why he couldn't give the cash, so who asa shalaika hagan? He wasn't doing properly. Kahagan means he wasn't doing it the way it should be. So therefore, the Dayanim also said, you know what? He's playing games. We're also going to play games, and we're not going to let him just give him the land. We're going to make him sell it and then take the cash and give it to him. I mean, he's like fighting fire with fire. Instead of just giving him the land, he has to sell it and then give him the cash. All right. So the Rav Kana, the Rav Papa, mitzvah, right? This is a very interesting Gemara here. According to you, who says that paying back a Baal Chayv is a mitzvah, right? Meaning, what does that mean? That really, I mean, you don't have to pay back your loans. Meaning, no, I'm sorry. You have to pay back your loans. That's not what it's saying. But let's say you don't have the cash, right? So does your land automatically go to the lender? That's the question. So we're saying Minat Torah, it does not have to go. It's a mitzvah to pay it back from your land. That, according to Rav Papa, that's what it is. Again, you're not mechuyev to give your land for the loan. It's a mitzvah too. So Amar, like nichali to have a mitzvah mai. But let's say the guy owes the money. He says, I don't want to do a mitzvah. Right? He says, I'm not interested in doing the mitzvah of letting him sell my property and take his money. Okay, so is he mechuyev to do that or not? Again, this is only going according to the opinion that says that you're not mechuyev to do it from the Torah. It's only a mitzvah, not only a mitzvah, but it's a mitzvah only. So a guy says, okay, I don't want to do a mitzvah, right? Yeah, lulav and esrog. Right? A guy says, I don't want to take a lulav and esrog. Okay, so what do you do to him? So Tanina, we already learned it. 622. When did we say that you get malchus, 40 malchus? That's by a loisas. A mitzvah aseh, but for somebody to do a mitzvah aseh, if you tell a guy you better build a sukkah and he doesn't do it, lulav or he's telling him to take a lulav and he doesn't do it on Talmud Beis, makin oisay achatese nafshay. Then we beat him until he dies. Right? It's a wild Gemara. Comes out that not doing a mitzvah aseh is a stricter punishment than doing a lav. Right? Let's say somebody hits somebody, so he gets malchus. Okay, so you give him malchus and he goes on his merry way. Here, but a guy says he doesn't want to do the mitzvah of sukkah, so we beat him. We beat him until he does it. Yeah, fascinating thing that the not doing a mitzvah to say is more chomer than doing something wrong. Fine. So then the Gemara continues. So boy minei Rami bar Chama mir Chista. So Rami Chama asked the Kasha from Chista, Reizeg hite v'loitis karshi boy elalach shloishim yoyim. If a guy told this is going back to what we said two dafim ago, where we said that if a guy has debts and after he dies, somebody wants to come take the debts from the assignment. So it depends where those objects are, and that's going to be dependent on whether the yosem is koinen or not. Now, if it was in Rosh Hashanah, the yosem is not koinen, right? So what happens if a guy says, "I'm giving you this get, but it's not working for 30 days. In 30 days, you're going to be divorced." She was smart. She didn't want to get divorced. So she went and she put the get on the sidewalk, let's say the sidewalk of Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, in the 30th day, she did not have possession. So how could this get become hers? So Mao, what's the din? Again, he said, you're getting divorced in 30 days. He gives her a get. That get's not working for 30 days. But when the 30 days come, she leaves it in a quasi-public property. If it was in public property, for sure it wouldn't work. But she left it in quasi-public property. So what's the din? So Malay, she's not magur, she's not divorced because of what Rabba Shmuel said 2 blot ago. The Rabba Shmuel Damar Tavayu, right? When it's in the Rosh Hashanah, then the father dies when the stuff is in Rosh Hashanah, then the kids don't inherit it. Right? So the tzidar Rosh Hashanah dummy, and the sides of Rosh Hashanah are considered like Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, since they're in Rosh Hashanah, since that's like a Rosh Hashanah, she's not koine her get, and therefore she's not divorced. So what I ask, Adarabba, Megureshes midrab Nachman. She should be divorced based on Rav Nachman. If somebody says, pull a para, but you're not going to mean the way you kind of animals is by pulling them. So he says, pull it today, but it's not going to be yours until 30 days. So he's kind of. Even if the animal is standing in a swamp. Now, isn't the swamp not private properly? My love, isn't the swamp and Tzidr Rosh Hashanah, the sides of Rosh Hashanah, the same exact thing? And if you see there that he's kind of the animal in 30 days, even if it's in a neutral place, so to here, the get should be hers when it's on the Tzidr Rosh Hashanah. So our answer is no, no, they're 2 different statuses. Right? Tzidr Rosh Hashanah is less theirs than it's less private than an agam. Fine. The Gemara goes with the opposite version. He said she's divorced, like the case of Rav Nachman of the agam. The Tzidr Rosh Hashanah ka'agam dami, and the sides of Rosh Hashanah are like an agam. The Gemara asks, Adarabba, eno megureshes mit Rav Shmuel. Maybe she shouldn't be divorced because of Rav and Shmuel. My love, because isn't it that Hainu Rosh Hashanah and Hainu Tzidr Rosh Hashanah isn't Rosh Hashanah and the Tzidr Rosh Hashanah the same thing? So therefore, she should not be divorced. So Gemara answers, "Lo Rishus Ram L'chud, v'tzid Rishus Ram L'chud." No, they're two different categories. Yeah. And the tzid Rishus Ram are not like Rishus Ram. Fine. Now this is obviously all going if the guy didn't say the word me'achshav. He says, "I'm going to divorce you. I'm giving you this get now. I'm going to divorce you in 30 days." So then in 30 days, it depends where the get is. But if he gave her the get and he said, in 30 days, I'm divorcing you, but the divorce is going to be in effect from right now, then it works. Then it works regardless of where the guy is. Right? That's what we had said about a couple of blot ago. Fine. Weiter. Here we also, this is another one of those mishnayos where you have to wonder how their marriages were back then. A guy takes his wife and she becomes the store owner, right? Or she becomes an apotropis, meaning she becomes the, executive assistant or something like that, right? Whenever he wants, he can make her swear that she's handling all his finances correctly. Right? Meaning a guy's just making his wife swear that in the store she didn't eat too much, etc., etc. Right? So he's even stricter. Rabbi Eliezer says he can even make his wife make a swear on a pilcha, is like a thing that she uses to sew, and on her dough. Meaning he could come home from work or wherever and say, "Hey, you made dough? How much dough did you use? Did you use too much? I told you not to spend too much on the dough. How much did you spend?" She says, "Spend this much." He says, "Swear." Right? And that, according to Rabbi Eliezer, yes, that's exactly what he does. Yeah. So so the Gemara says, who they asked the Shaila, Rabbi Eliezer, al yedei gilgul kamar or al lechatchila kamar? No, al yedei gilgul doesn't mean that he's doing with like a cat that showed up to Bismedish or something like that. Right? It doesn't mean that. It means a gilgul shvua. Sometimes you're already making somebody make a shvua. So we say, once you make a shvua on that, we're also having an issue with this, add on another shvua. But to make her swear in the first place, that we'd never do. Right, so that's really as the shaila. Right, it would be easier on the wife, obviously, if she was swearing for something else, and then swear on this, fine. But to make her swear on all these things, lechatchila, that you wouldn't do. Or do we say no? He makes her swear on everything. Say bailu. Is he saying just rolling it in? That's a literal translation. Roll it into another shua, or is it lechatchila? So Tashma Amud Rabbi Eliezer. A person cannot. We had this a couple of weeks ago. A person cannot live with a snake in a basket. So if you say that that he can make his wife make a shua even lechatchila shapers, then we understand that a woman does not want to live in a pressure cooker. That's the way we would call it nowadays. With her husband, who's going to make her be swearing every other day. But if you only can make the shua when she's already making shua on something else, that's not such pressure. My nafkalamina, what does she care? But once she's swearing for something else, she'll swear for this. Right? So it's mashma that the shua that they're making her do is at any time, not even just rolled into another one. So what it says, the Gemara says, no, it could be that she's not interested. Could be that she's not interested even for making gilgul shvua. She says, I don't want to be under scrutiny. I guess that would be right. Since you're always checking into me, I can't live with you. It's like living with a snake. It might work for a little bit, but eventually it's going to be a problem. So Tashma, if somebody did not make his wife potter from a shuz, which is going to be the next Mishnah, and he made her into a chenvenis, he made her into a apotropos, he can make his wife swear whenever he wants. She works for the husband, he can make her swear whenever he wants. But if he didn't make him to a chenavis, and he didn't make him to apotropos, eino yachol lashpia, and he's not allowed to make her swear. So it's only if she's, according to the Tanakama, like we learned, it's only if she's only if she's his apotropos or his worker. Even if he didn't make him to chenavis, and he didn't make him to apotropos, mashpia calls machayirtz. He can make her swear whenever he wants. Because there's no such thing as a woman who's not an apotropos at some point, right? He's giving her his belongings to cook with, etc., etc. So that's an apotropos. So al pilcha v'al or with her sewing the things, or with her dough. So they told him back, well, you can't have somebody live with a snake in a basket. So we see from this that he can make her make shuas even lechatchila, shema mina, and that's what it means. So bottom line is we have a machlokes. If the woman works for the husband, he can make her make shuas whenever he wants. If she doesn't work for the husband, then that's a machlokes. Rabba Eliezer holds she can. But then you have another guy in this Mishnah now who's a nice guy, and he tells his wife, "Don't worry, we're going to get married, and I'm not going to make you make any shuas." And he says that. So that's what the Mishnah says. He goes through a few different scenarios. Kosav law, he writes for her, right? Neder u'shvua ein li alecha. I am not going to have any neder and shvuas on you. Ein yochel hashpia. He cannot make. Then he's not allowed to make her swear. Our mashpia who as yarshev as abama b'reshusah. But let's say she dies, and her yarshim take over her accounts or whatever it is. Then he's allowed to, right? Or anybody that comes with the yerush, he's allowed to make him swear. That's case number one. Then he says, neder u'shvua ein li alecha. I don't have a neder and a shvua on you, val yoshecha, and on whoever yarshins you, al abayim b'reshuscha, and those that come in your reshus, ein yochel hashpia. He can't make her swear loyhi v'lo yarshav v'lo yasabayim b'reshusha, aval yarshav, but his yarshim, if he dies, mashpia noisel. They can all of a sudden come in and say, hey, there's a new sheriff in town. Now you have to swear to us. That's yarshav v'sabayim b'reshusha. Right? They could make her swear and her yarshim and those that come reshus. Neder shua ainli v'loy li yarshi v'loy l'bayim b'reshusi alecha v'al yoshecha v'al l'bayim b'reshuscha. Right? He says, not my yarshim can't make you swear, and they can't make your yarshim swear. Eino yachal hashpia. Then he's not allowed to make her swear loy hu v'loy yarshav v'loy abayim b'reshusay loy oisa v'loy yoshev v'loy abayim b'reshusay. So there's three scenarios. The first one is he says, I'm only telling the wife that she can't make a shvua. The second scenario is that I'm saying that the wife can't make a shvua, and my yarshim won't make a shvua either. And the third is nobody can make you make a shvua. So now the Gemara clarifies this. Let's say straight from the cemetery, from burying her husband, she goes straight to her father's house. Or she goes to her in-laws' house, which is basically back to her husband's house. But she did not become the apotropos on the estate. Somebody else took care of it. So then, the Yarshin are not allowed to make her make a shvua. But if she becomes an apotropos, then a Yarshin mashpia noisa al lavai. Then any new finances that come up, she can make the shvua. But anything that was in the past, since the husband said he's not making make a shvua, so then that was that. So then they can't make the shvua again. If he makes a neder or he writes that nobody's making the shvua, not the yarshim, not him, nobody's making her make a shvua, that the Mishnah clarifies that it only works if she goes home and she does not in charge. But if she becomes in charge, right? Then if she's in charge, then they can make her swear on anything from here on out, right? But not anything that happened in the past. Okay, we'll do the Gemara tomorrow night, Bez Hashem, 8:30. All right.
Great. Thank you.
I think Gershon's making a bar mitzvah this week, right?
I didn't get invited.
Yeah, neither did I. So.
Wait, why not?
Oh, have a good Shabbos. Thank you.
Good Shabbos.
Yeah.
Yes, he said he's making a bar mitzvah.
He's making a bar mitzvah this week in Cleveland.
He said if you don't want to go to the Shalom Zocher, you could come to the bar mitzvah.
What do you say?
He said if you don't want to go to the Shalom Zacher, you can come to his bar mitzvah.
Yeah. All right.